I think that, again, it's going to depend on the size of the company, the industry, things like that. I have always tried to make a rule not to work with family and, not to definitely do business with family or really, really close friends because something always gets, something is always, messed up in a way. I think you bend the rules a little bit
Hmm.
and you don't go through your normal channels. When you don't go through, follow your own rules that you've set for your business, and you don't go through those normal channels, things fall through the cracks. Things get misunderstood. Somebody says, "Oh, you weren't supposed to charge me," and when really, or you are supposed to call that in. And I'm like, but I talked to you outside of the office, so it didn't get called in because we weren't following our usual channels. So that's one thing that I think interferes. The other thing too is if you're in a larger setting, a bigger company, somebody is naturally going to think that they're being treated differently or that you're treating your family or friend differently. And that is always going to set up, I think, a little bit of resentment. I don't know if that's the correct word, but it'll set up a little bit of resentment between the non-family members and family members that you're working with.
I think that it does set up the problem I think with it, I think if you have family members working with you or for you, it's very important to be very careful with that because it's a couple of things that I think can go off awry, real quickly. Is say that the supervisor has to reprimand one of the other family members. There is a potential chance that you're going to lose two holes because if one gets mad, the other one is ready to go. Or if there is an issue between a disagreement between one employee and that family member, then that could even be escalated because now you've gotten another family member involved in that. So that can kind of become toxic. Now, the positive side of that is if you have a family member, they already understand the rules. They know that I'll say, for instance, my son, I'm not mama at work. You're here and you're functioning as an employee. You cross that line, we have a problem. And as long as you're treating that employee in that same way, it should not be that you're seeing that family member as an employee and it's in your handbook, it shouldn't be a problem. But I think it's a very gray area to be very careful with. That's just
I
my
can give
opinion.
you kind of an example. I'm a very small office. There's only 8 of us working there. We run a solid, good business, but it takes I like it smaller because the right hand knows what the left hand's doing. But my office manager who's been with me for 12 years and is absolutely wonderful. Her sister works for us and her daughter
Hmm.
works for us. And so
Hmm.
we've got 3 family members there, and really it works well because she as an office manager is able to be an office manager. And so she
Ah.
it's the family members like they are, working for me in the office,
Hmm.
and she holds them to the same standard as she does other employees. But she's a very unusual person, I think, to be able to do that. I have seen where that doesn't usually work well that way. But personality driven, somebody may be able to, keep that role separate.
Oh, okay then. Well, Abigail, you had anything to add to that? Family
Yeah,
members?
I've never worked with family, but I have worked with like really close friends, and even
Hmm.
been in a relationship with somebody that I was working with. Now, I've never like worked with someone and then started dating them. I was like dating them and then we started working together, and that never
Hmm.
ever worked
No.
because I'm a person where I take my job and my career very very seriously, and
Hmm.
when I'm at work, the relationship is set aside, and
I'm at
there were
work.
times where like I'm trying to get stuff done and then the person's mad at me or they don't like that I'm like telling them what to do, but in those situations I was in kind of a position of authority. And even at one of my old jobs, I had moved up to management, and my roommate and my best friend worked with me. And we
Mm.
worked on a team together. And there were just times where I felt like I wasn't being like listened to or like respected in a way because like she was like, well, why would I listen to you? And blah, blah, blah. Or she didn't
Ex-
understand why I was giving the direction I was giving. And because she wasn't in a position of authority. And it made things very difficult. So I can't imagine like with working with a family member if it was difficult working with a close friend. I can't
mhm.
imagine working with family.